So Sonic Racing Crossworlds has been lighting the kart racing world on fire, with many people actually preferring it to the recently released Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World, of course, kind of went in a different direction for kart racing games, whereas Sonic Racing Crossworlds decided to focus in on why people like kart racing games. You have customization, you have a variety of characters, a variety of courses, and of course, you're trying to finish first in all of these different races. Sonic Racing Crossworlds released on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. And here's where things kind of get a bit weird, because all of the reviews that I've seen for the game has, of course, been on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, and maybe some Steam as well. No one's really talking about the Switch 1 version of the game, because everyone's kind of waiting for that Switch 2 version. The Switch 2 version of the game has been delayed, so if you only own a Nintendo system, right now, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is only available to play on your original Nintendo Switch. So is it worth checking out on the Switch 1? I haven't seen many videos, so I decided to throw down the money and purchase this game on the Nintendo Switch to check it out for you guys. So if you appreciate that, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But without any further ado, let's talk about Sonic Racing Crossworlds, specifically the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Now, what does the Crossworlds mean in the title of the game, Sonic Racing Crossworlds? Well, it's kind of the interesting mechanic that they have included into this game that kind of makes it a bit different than a lot of other kart racing games. After you do essentially a lap on the racetrack that you are on, a split will end up happening where you can get a random track segment or a decided track segment, and then you go and then you end up racing on this other course for a lap, then come back to the original course that you were on for the third and final lap. I actually really like this mechanic, and it seems to be done very seamlessly even on the original Nintendo Switch. Like, it essentially has to load up like a whole segment of another level that you're not currently on, yet the Switch seems to handle it just fine when you go through the little portal. I actually like this as well because it kind of gives you a variety throughout the course, so it doesn't always feel the same when you're doing the 3 different laps. And beyond that, the courses themselves, some of them are actually dynamic, where things will change on the 3rd lap of the course, so it doesn't even necessarily feel the same as the first lap did, which I think adds for good variety. As far as the actual racing mechanics are concerned, it's a kart racer. You know, you have a rival who is kind of the person that you need to defeat. Of course, you want to finish first all of the time, but the rival kind of adds a little extra layer to it. You're racing around these tracks, you know, with various different things. You have some levels you'll be flying in segments, some levels you'll be kind of aquatic in the segments and stuff like that. Once again, very nice level variety, and it keeps you on your toes as far as everything is concerned. Of course, you have to drift and use items as you are playing the game. You can get different sorts of items that allow you to do different things, cut ahead of the line, take out an enemy with a big like punching glove, get more speed boosts and stuff like that. It's all very well done. I think all of the items are pretty cool. Some of them are a little bit more interesting than others, but it doesn't really stray too far from the path. One thing that's important in this game is car customization and badge customization, because you're constantly unlocking these tickets after you do a race, and with those tickets you can unlock different sorts of aesthetics for your vehicle to sort of change up the look and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. It makes you want to play the game to unlock all of the different aesthetic things. You'll of course can change different colors, add decals, all sorts of fun stuff. The badge customization actually plays a role in the actual racing, though, because these badges essentially allow you to have certain abilities and prioritize certain abilities over other abilities. So, like, you can start the race off with a boost, or you can start it off with some rings that you will have to collect in the course, but you have a little bit of a head start there. Various things like that. You know, there's one that allows you to have a bigger punching glove, and you can mix and match these different things depending on how many open slots you have. Some things will require 1 slot, some 2, some 3, so on and so forth, as strong as the stronger that the ability gets. So I like that. it does give you a certain feel, a certain flair to it. It allows you to kind of make it so that it is suited for your own different needs as far as what you want. Do you want to focus on different things? Do you want to focus on speed? All of the characters have their own, starting point as far as what they are best in, power, speed, things of that nature. So it allows you to kind of make up in certain areas for areas that your character that you choose might be a little bit weaker in. As far as game modes are concerned, of course, you have your standard Grand Prix, you have races against the AI, you have a frenzy mode, which kind of makes everything wacky when it comes to the Crossworlds mechanic of it, and of course, you also have some online play. I did check out the online play. It seemed to work fine enough. It's really nice to see that there is a leveling system within the game, and you can level up your character and kind of like a ranking system, something that Mario Kart World doesn't have online. I mean, it kind of does with the numerical number, but at least like in this, it feels like there's more of a reason to want to get your level up to potentially unlock different things, because you do want to unlock things in this game. There's a wide variety of different courses in the game as well. All of them have their own unique feel and flair to them. I really like the different courses. I think they're very creative. You'll remember some of these things from various Sonic games, as at its core, this is a Sonic game, and there is additional DLC coming out for the game as well over time. So if you want to get the season pass, you can pay the extra and get the digital deluxe edition. I don't plan on playing this game on the Switch 1 much beyond this review, because now we got to get into the Switch 1 stuff of the game, and that's where things it's not the worst in the world. Right off the bat, you're going to notice that the game does run at 30 frames per second. And honestly, I think when there are a lot of racers on the course at once in a kind of jumbled up area, I think it actually goes lower than that, because I can kind of feel it. And obviously, 30 frames per second isn't an unplayable thing, but 60 frames is definitely ideal for a game like this. Racing games, sports games, I feel like being able to have 60 frames per second is very important. And when you look at stuff like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is also on the Nintendo Switch, that is a 60 frame per second game. So right then and there, it kind of gets a little bit murky. You can adjust to it, and I did adjust to it over time, but I always kind of yearned for that 60 frames per second to make it just feel so much better. But I also feel like, graphically speaking, the game is a bit of a downgrade, more so than maybe some people would have expected. Like, if you see the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series version of the game, it's a beautiful looking game with so many effects and, high resolution stuff going on in the background and stuff. And the Switch 1 version is definitely a bit more dumbed down. Some of the textures actually look a little bit muddy and stuff like that. Like I said, it's not the worst game in the world, but you could tell that the system itself is kind of struggling with it. And I think that's a shame, because, it really extends into handheld mode as well. Handheld mode looks really bad to me. And, that's always going to be dependent on the person who's playing it, how their eyes kind of adjust to it. But it is extremely blurry in handheld mode. It almost has that Vaseline smear to it, and it is extremely noticeable, to the point of where I do not want to play the game whatsoever in handheld mode. In docked mode, it's all right. You can get used to it. You can still have fun with the game, but it's kind of like, well, was it even worth it releasing it on the original Nintendo Switch? Did they delay the Switch 2 version of the game because they really needed to, or did they delay the Switch 2 version of the game because they knew, comparative to what is available on the Switch 1, people probably wouldn't buy it? As far as the presentation is concerned, though, I must say, the game does have excellent audio. I love the audio in this game. The soundtrack is absolutely incredible, and it's very nicely done. And I do think the game itself is very, very fun. Like, it's just the performance issues on the Switch version kind of hamper the amount of fun that you can really have with the game. I feel like the Switch 2 version of the game will be the perfect blend of the portability while still getting the performance that you're looking for. I'm actually not sure, though, if there's an upgrade path. Like, I do hope there is, because I bought this on the Switch 1, but, it's definitely a game that will probably be on sale pretty soon, especially the Switch 1 version of the game. Sega games tend to do that from time to time. And I do think if you have like someone, you know, like a little kid or something like that who just likes Sonic the Hedgehog, like they will have fun with the game. You know, kids are, you know, they're entertained by pretty much anything. I used to be entertained by like picking my nose and putting it on the wall. And that was a real thing. And one day I came home from kindergarten. My mom washed all the boogers off my wall, and I was really upset. But yeah, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, I think it's an awesome game. The Switch version, though, it does leave a lot to be desired. It's playable. It's fine. At $60, you know, but it is packed with a bunch of different courses. It is packed with a bunch of different content, and I think the core game is outstanding. So if you're looking at it on other platforms or even waiting for the Switch 2 version, I think you'll be really pleased with this game. But those are my thoughts on Sonic Racing Crossworlds on the Nintendo Switch 1. Let me know in the comments section down below. Have you checked out this game on the Switch 1? If so, what did you think about it, or are you playing it on another platform? Like I said, I just haven't seen many Switch 1 related videos for this game, so I thought, all right, you know, I will sacrifice myself and my enjoyment of the game by getting, you know, what's going to be the crappier version for the betterment of you. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it with your friends, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.